Daniel Cormier. This is a little treat, seeing you in Vegas, my friend. Didn't expect you this week.
Yeah, man, I'm excited, you know. Big fights. When the big fights happen, I show up, you know, so I'm excited about the fights.
How's the back? Because obviously you were in surgery last year.
Yeah.
Or earlier on this year, should I say.
At this time.
How are you?
At this time I'm good. Feel better every day. Every day I feel more like myself, you know. It takes, they told me right at around a year, I would start to feel the effects of the surgery, and now I'm starting to feel so much better every day.
Obviously being from a wrestling background, how does that affect you?
It's tough, right? Not only from a wrestling standpoint, but from a lot of things, you know. The ability to kick and kick effectively, you know, the twisting of the hips, the back, all those muscles are used when you're doing those actions. So it takes a lot of, it takes a lot out of you whenever you're a guy that does a lot of those things in fights.
Regarding fighting again, because we saw you last time, obviously, in the fight against Stipe, you gave a very emotional interview post-fight.
Yeah.
And you were talking about maybe you will, maybe you won't.
Yeah.
Where are you at this moment?
You know, it was a very tough time for me, you know, with the Miocic fight, and then I lost my father a week afterwards. So I had a tough time, man. I had to really get back to myself and my family, and take some time to try to really think about what's best for Daniel, you know, because I don't need to fight again. I don't have to fight again. I can be done with this and live a great life, obviously, with everything I have going outside of the octagon. But very quickly, after I started to come around, you know, the fog started to lift a little bit. The UFC called me and offered me a number of fights, you know, and one of them was a third fight with Stipe, and I said, you know, I do want to do that again. I felt like I didn't compete to the best of my ability, and part of that was due to Stipe just fighting a good fight, you know, but I feel like I could fight better, and I said, you know, yeah, I'll do that. I'll fight Miocic again.
So that's for you going to be the next one. Do you have a time frame of when you're thinking?
You know, I think when you look at the schedule, right, that's all we can do. All I can do is look at the schedule. You have Conor in January. You have Jones in February. You have, I don't know.
Your man Khabib coming up in April?
Khabib's in April. So I think the earliest, I think the May pay-per-view is always in Brazil. So I think the earliest would be around June, you know, but if that's when it is, that's when it is. You know, it just further removes me from that surgery and gives me more time to recover, so that when I do start to prepare, I can do everything from the very start of training camp.
Yeah, you mentioned about all the things that you're doing outside the octagon. I mean, we're enjoying you in the commentary booth and various things like that. I'm sure you're enjoying that as well. We'll speak about it in a minute. Are you now in that twilight? Are you thinking to yourself, maybe this is the last one against Stipe?
Yeah, for sure. I think for sure that this is the last fight. You know, go and try to regain the championship. Yeah. And look for that fairy tale ending, you know, something that not many people get, you know, and maybe I'm lucky enough to get that. You know, I feel like there are a lot of things that lends me to believe that I have the ability to beat this guy again, you know. Over the course of those 4 rounds that we fought, I won the vast majority of those rounds, even in the rematch. So I feel like I match up well against him. I mean, those guys did such a phenomenal job of adjusting and getting that win last time that now it's our turn, you know? It's chess, right? You made a great move, now it's my time to make a better move. And I live for that, you know, and hopefully I got that one great night left in me.
Do you feel that that is the only piece of unfinished business that you've got in mixed martial arts?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it for me. Fight Stipe again, and then you can see me at the commentary table or hosting TV shows and everything else.
Making a smile.
Yeah.
There'll obviously be fans watching this, our conversation, and there's always that name of Jon Jones. It's always there in the background. How do you look back at your time with him, and is there anything in the back of your mind where you're thinking to yourself, I'd love to maybe do that at heavyweight? Because a lot of fans at the time were thinking that might have been a possibility.
You know, I think about the Jones portion of my career. I spanned about 3 years, 15 to 17. I think it was the second time we fought. So it wasn't even 3 years. It was 2 years, but it seems to it so defines everything that I've done because we had such a big rivalry that I appreciate the competitiveness of it, right? I appreciate the fact that he made me prepare better than I ever prepared for anyone else. I feel like those fights brought the best out of me. But I think that time's passed. You know, I don't want to make any more money with him. You know, for a long time, it's been very inconsistent. I think we've been scheduled to fight 5 times. You know, we've done it twice with you know, a whole bunch of bad test results, and I don't want to do that again.
Physically and psychologically demanding.
Well, yeah, just in my mind, it's like, do I really want to undertake that again? You know, all the bad blood that is attached to that rivalry. You know, he won the fights. You know, the only good thing that came out of that, again, was I prepared best than I've ever prepared. It gave me something real big to chase down. We made a lot of money, but, you know, just as the Lakers and the Celtics had to move past one another, I think we have to do the same thing.
Made you a better fighter for future fights.
I mean, for everything, right? Like, I mean, the things that I accomplish in this game, it's crazy, but I attribute a lot of it to that rivalry because I believe that I got better. From the moment I was scheduled to fight him the first time, I got better before the first fight. And because I got better before the first fight, I was able to beat everybody else. And then I got better again before the second fight. And I just continued to evolve my game because I knew how good he was. And
do you think that's why the hunger's still there, talking about a fight with Stipe? That rivalry has kept you really embedded into this game?
I still feel I'm getting better.
Yeah.
You know, up until, the first round of the fight with Miocic last time, I fought like a freaking world beater. Like, I did things that I didn't even know I was capable of doing. You know, I was kicking, I was punching, I was just beating him to the punch the entire time in the first 2 rounds. In the third round, he started to do better. But even in that round, I was still beating him to the punch, you know, like, and kicks and everything else. But I just kept getting better. And I'm hoping now that he's beaten me, he lights that same type of fire to be better that I got from Jones. And I anticipate in my preparation for this third fight, I'll find that.
I know you've put your time with Jon to bed, but as fans look at him, do you think there will be a point where he does come to heavyweight?
I think he'll have to. You know, he'll have to escape his comfort zone a little bit. But it's scary for him. You know, it's scary for a lot of guys to change weight classes. There's this air of invincibility with Jones, and for him to go up and take these chances, I imagine it's very scary. And I don't know if he really wants to do that, but I think he will at some point.
Will he run out of opponents, do you think, at light heavyweight? Where are the main contenders there for you now?
Main contenders at light heavyweight,
we've got Reyes,
Dominic
of course,
Reyes, obviously. I think he's a good young fighter. I think Corey Anderson has done some great things reinventing himself and becoming this challenger that he is. But I think when you look at Jones, the biggest rivalries he's ever had with Rashad and then the 2 fights with me, those are big-time box office deals. But you can tell it's not fabricated, it's not made up, you know, and they have to feel like there's a threat, right? Like when I fought Jones both times, everybody felt there was a threat. Yeah. Right? If it seems like he's gonna wipe these guys out, people won't tune in. You know, for as good as he is, he does not draw that he doesn't make that thing click within people. Conor does. Yeah. Like Conor does. You know, like regardless of who he's fighting, people go, "Oh, Conor McGregor, I'm watching him." I don't think Jones does that, as I don't either with people outside of him or Miocic. You know, it's like some people just don't tune in for certain guys, and I think he's one of those guys that people just don't automatically tune in for.
What are your thoughts on Israel Adesanya and his rise in the middleweight division?
Yeah, I think Israel Adesanya is phenomenal. I think the world of him. I think he's a star. I think he's so comfortable in in the spotlight, and not many people can live like that. We had a conversation privately about how are you so at ease dancing and fighting when you're fighting one of the most dangerous men in the world, Robert Whittaker,
Absolutely.
who I also think the world of. I think Rob's the best. He's a gentleman. He's a lovely human being. And he said he just lives for it. 17 MMA fights, but hundreds of kickboxing matches. And he's one of those guys that truly does personify, I worked for this, now I'm gonna live in the rewards of being as good as I am. Some of us, like, you talk about wanting to become the champ and become the man, but when it happens, it's overwhelming. I don't think that'll ever happen to Israel Adesanya.
Do you think he's the man to maybe challenge Jones? We were speaking before. Could he go up and make a dint at light heavy?
I think he can do whatever he wants. I don't know who beats Jon Jones. I really don't. And obviously you guys know my feelings towards him, but he's good, man. I think it's going to take a heavyweight. It'll be one of those guys, one of those big guys that will shut the lights out. I just don't know if those guys can beat Jones over 25 minutes. He's a good fighter. He has so many weapons, and look at me. I feel I'm one of the greatest fighters of all time, and he beat me twice. So that says a lot about who he is as a competitor. But can Israel fight him? Yes. Especially if Jon takes the wrong approach to fighting Izzy. You fight Israel Adesanya, you better go get some takedowns, because if you stand with him, he's dangerous for anybody.
Regarding you then, when you have your hand raised and you become champion once again, you walk off into the sunset and do some other things. Now, you got us all excited with the little bit of a back and forth with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Maybe WWE? Could we see you in there, DC?
I've talked to the WWE on a number of occasions.
I bet you have, yeah.
They want to work together. I almost came to the press conference for Brock versus Kane to play a role of a fight builder, but unfortunately my schedule didn't work. I had an offer to work that new show they have, WWE Backstage on Fox. Obviously it just didn't work with the new relationship with ESPN. But we are constantly trying to find ways to get me involved in the product. And as a big time fan of the WWE, nothing makes me happier. I've got some great opportunities, man. Like, I'm lucky. I've got some things outside of the octagon that's going to carry me on for a long time. And
the kids would love to see Daddy in the WWE, wouldn't they?
They would. My son would, for sure. My son would love it. He loves seeing Kane in there. It's it's awesome. Man, my family has lived through things that we never could have imagined. And I said that about my father. I showed my dad some amazing things. This is a man from Lafayette, Louisiana. I never thought he would see Niagara Falls or be in Las Vegas on so many occasions. I've been lucky enough to give my family a lot of big moments.
Regarding commentary, because we're enjoying you obviously in the booth, how are you finding it? It seems an easy transition into the world of media.
I love it. I love the commentary. I love hosting. I just love doing the TV thing. It's something new for me to pursue. I'm a guy that's very goal oriented. So if I want to be the best, as I want to be the best in fighting, I want to be the best sports commentator. I want to be the best broadcaster. I want to be as good at that as I was in wrestling, as I was in football, and as I am in fighting. So I'm just a very singular, focused guy. And at times that can be bad for the people on the other side. My wife hates it. When you get focused on one thing, it's all you think about, and it's like, but it's what's allowed me to be who I am today.
Are you ever going to make a reality TV show with Khabib? Because we're kind of we're loving the relationship that you two have.
I love Khabib. I think he's one of the best people in the world, man. He is so loyal and he's so caring. And once you're a part of his circle, man, he will die for you. And I mean that literally. He cares about people to the point that you're family, and we have fun. I think because he's Khabib now, the global superstar, but I still treat him as if he's Khabib, the kid that walked into the gym and didn't speak English.
But we love that. We love seeing that.
I'm like his big brother, and I think that allows us to have such a unique relationship. And I'm glad that AKA Fight News and I Am the Bay everybody else that records it is able to let you guys watch and get an inside look at our gym on a daily basis.
Do you think, I know that you mentioned that you and Jones were scheduled to fight 5 times. We got to see 2 of those. We haven't seen one with Tony as of yet. It's been scheduled a lot.
This one will happen, I feel. It's a big fight. I mean, you know, it's crazy because a couple of years ago I felt like Tony was the most dangerous guy for Khabib.
Yeah.
But I think now he's improved to a level that I don't think anybody can challenge him. He is the most dominant fighter in the UFC, and he's going to continue to prove that every time he steps in there. I mean, this guy works so hard. He works so hard, man. It's like he has nothing still. For as rich as he is today and as much fame as he has, he trains and acts like he's a guy that still lives on the mattress in the gym. And I think that will allow him to continue to dominate fighters in the way that he has.
DC, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, man.
My man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good luck with the
Appreciate it.
rehab, and we look forward to seeing you next year fighting.
Thank you.